You're listening to the audio production of Renovate Your Relationships, a proven guide to setting boundaries and building bridges with those who matter most, by Scott Vaudrey, MD, MA, published by Thomas Nelson and read by Mark Smeby. Please note that you may download an accompanying PDF that provides enhanced materials for this audiobook. To download the PDF, please visit thomasnelson.com/p/renovateaudio. A message for the listener. Most of us can think of times when we felt hurt or disappointed by someone who matters to us, a spouse, significant other, family member, co-worker, boss, or friend. We ask ourselves, am I making too big a deal out of this? Should I just lighten up? Should I stand up for myself? How do I draw closer to this person I care about? How do I create greater safety from this destructive person in my life? If one or more of these questions nag at you, good news. By the end of this book, you'll have gained clarity on what you really want in that relationship, and you'll have learned some helpful tools for getting there. Research has demonstrated with remarkable consistency that the single greatest contribution to our sense of happiness and well-being is the quality of our relationships. This is a book about making relationships better. We all experience relational challenges from time to time. As you'll see in this book, I've certainly experienced relational pain firsthand in both big and small ways. Sometimes I've managed my disappointment well, resulting in relationships that have prevailed and are fulfilling. At other times, sadly, I've over or underreacted to my disappointment in ways that made matters worse. I've learned a lot from both ends of the spectrum, and this has motivated me to write about what I've discovered along the way. During my careers as a physician, a pastor, and now an executive coach, I've been given a unique vantage point for spotting patterns that emerge when people find themselves in relational ditches, and for identifying helpful strategies to help them get out of those ditches. Speaking about these concepts to groups, organizations, and staff teams has helped me synthesize what I've learned down to its core elements. This book captures these learnings through words, stories, and diagrams available in the accompanying PDF, showing how our destructive relational patterns can lead to so much frustration and disappointment, and how we can take steps to create new patterns with people important to us. The most important part of this process actually happens before we take any step at all. In fact, when we find ourselves frustrated because our boundary setting or bridge building hasn't improved our relational world, in the vast majority of situations, the problem isn't our execution, but our preparation. A large portion of this book, therefore, focuses on the all-important prep work we must do before we engage in bridge building or boundary setting conversations, what I also refer to as accepting and protecting. This book starts at the beginning. It won't provide you with a quick and temporary fix. Instead, it will guide you in how to take a careful look at all the dynamics at play when a relationship goes off course. Bridge building, accepting, and boundary setting, protecting, will each be examined, and more importantly, you'll learn how to find the right balance between them in every relationship. A practical Renovate Your Relationships pathway chart, which you can find in the accompanying PDF, will guide your progress on the road to renovating your relationships. Each chapter of this book unpacks the process in increasing depth. Part 1 describes the problem of life and explores our potential responses. Part 2 examines several critical mistakes that can get us off track in our relationships. These avoidable errors are the number one cause of boundary and bridge building failures. Part 3 establishes how to chart a course of action for improving relationships while avoiding common pitfalls and managing relational disappointments well. We'll take a deep dive into the actual mechanics of the relational change process, that is, learning to set boundaries, by getting a close-up look at all 3 stages of boundary setting before, during, and after. A disproportionate amount of this book is dedicated to setting boundaries and less to building bridges. This is intentional because when it comes to bridge building, the issue is usually one of awareness. In general, the how-to of building bridges is less difficult to discern than the how-to of boundary setting. When people realize they need to stand up for themselves and set boundaries, they often lack the how-to they need. Part 3, therefore, offers a step-by-step coaching in setting boundaries. Part 4 offers an actual case study that walks you through the entire Renovate Your Relationships process in a practical setting. When I speak at businesses, churches, and nonprofits, people approach me afterward with good questions and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?